Hey guys, Clayton here with Hawkeye Ag Services. I'd like to welcome you to this tutorial on the basics of QGIS. For this demonstration I'm using QGIS 2.18. As you can see down on the bottom of my screen here, there is a new version, so there could be some slight changes, but as far as I'm concerned I would think that everything should be fairly similar to what I'm about to show you. QGIS is an open source software. You can download it online for your Mac or PC, and you'll be able to use it to do all sorts of things with outputs that you've made, maps that you've created in Pix4D or other software. This is where you're going to be able to create prescription maps and stuff like that, customized. So for this tutorial, I'm going to go through a few things, just some basic commands for how to run a project in QGIS. First thing we're going to start with was importing rasters. Basically is importing your maps into QGIS so you can see them and work with them. The next thing is going to be importing vectors, which is like a data format that's a little bit different than a raster, that you can overlay onto your project. And then I'm going to show you how to create a shape file and the necessary files that go with that, which is essentially your prescription map that you're going to put into your tractor or your sprayer. This is going to be a customized one that you select the areas based on what your maps look like. You can also do this automatically with Pix4D, and I'm going to show you what those maps look like as well. And then finally I'm just going to show you where to find those files and what you want to put on your USB in order to put them into your tractor. So we'll get started here. The first thing we're going to want to do is import our raster layer. So here, this is the maps that I'm going to be using today. You can probably find these images in other places on my website. They're of soybeans, and it's a PSRI index map, which is one of the options that we can use as an index. I've exported it from Pix4D. This is where it's been created here. You can see, so we'll open that up. And here you can see, now it's just black and white. You're thinking, where's the colored one? This is just the raw data. If you remember, if you've watched the Pix4D tutorial, you can see how you change the colors, inverting and stuff like that. So this is basically the raw data, what it looks like. Now in QGIS here, we have the option of changing the look of it. So what we want to do, if we want to do that single band, we want to change to the single band pseudo color. We're going to go like that, and we're going to hit apply. Now for some reason on my computer it disappears. All you have to do is hit invert and hit apply again, and there you go, it's going to give you your map. The greener areas are the healthier crop, and the purple areas and the red areas are the poor areas. So if we want to adjust transparency or anything for this map, we can do that in here. Make sure you hit apply, and it'll do that. Now this is the background map we have right now, so it makes sense to leave it on full. I know in Pix4D you created that nice map of this with green, red, however many different colors you decided to have in there. If you want to import that one, that's no problem. We can go back into that file where all of our Pix4D outputs are, and it's going to be this one, RGBA, the file that has that in the name, and there it is. You can see it's just overlaid now on top of the other one that we just imported. We're actually we'll use this one for the sake of this tutorial. So I'll actually get rid of this. In order to remove it, you just right click and you hit remove. It's going to say do you want to for sure, and just hit OK so it goes away. So that's kind of the basics of importing a raster layer into your QGIS project. The next thing we're going to want to do is import a vector layer. So if you've exported your prescription map in Pix4D, it's going to be what's called a vector layer. So we're going to hit this button right here if it's add a vector layer, and we're going to go browsing for our file. So this is where the all the stuff is. If I've exported it correctly, it should be under the index that we're using, and we can select this shape file right here. and there it is. So you notice it's all one color. That's just how it is. Each of these, when you put it into your sprayer, each of these squares is going to be a different value, whatever rates you'd preset in your Pix4D before you exported it. Now, just for a quick note here, each one of these squares is 4 meters by 4 meters, just to give you kind of an idea of what sizes we're looking at here. You can change those settings in Pix4D before you export it if you want to get the basics of what you kind of the basic idea of what you want. If you think your sprayer is 100 feet wide or 120 feet wide, whatever it is, these 4 meter squares are more than large enough. Okay, so now that we've imported this, we can go into properties of it. So we'll just double click on that, and we want to see kind of what is underneath there. So we're going to hit the transparency. We'll put it 58%. That's a little high. Maybe we can bring it down. You can change the color of it if you'd like to, whatever works for you. There's all kinds of different options in here that you can look through and play with. So now you can see this is going to give you a little bit better of an idea. So when I exported this, I only had 3 different levels, 3 different rates in there. So you're going to be it's going to be pretty easy to tell which one's which rate. This one's obviously going to be the first rate, and then these areas in between here, this is going to be second rate, and where it's the darkest, this is going to be the third rate. Now, if you didn't like what Pix4D is output for you for your prescription map, we can make a custom one as well. So how we're going to do that, we're going to create a shapefile. So that's going to be this button down here, new shapefile layer. I'm going to click on that. We're going to want it to be a polygon. This layer would work for you, but I like to have it named a little bit differently. So I'm going to type in here rate, and we're going to want that set as a whole number. The length is fine as 10, and we can leave the precision blank, and we'll have that add to the field list. So now every time we make a new area, it's going to ask us after we create it what rate we'd like to put in. That's going to directly correspond to what we want to put it on the sprayer. So it's gonna, you see, it's gonna ask us for a place to save it now. So what I've done is back in the project folder for the whole flight, I've created all these different files. If you'd watch my Pix4D video, you'll see where I've created these two, and then now that I'm doing my QGIS stuff, I've created this one as well. I've done a few other things in here, so that's what's showing up. But this is the file or the folder where I'm going to want to save my prescription map that I'm about to create, so we're going to put it in here. We're just going to delete this one. We're going to save the file as, this October 21st RX, and we can hit save there. And now it's created. So you can see there's nothing on that layer yet. We're going to have to draw it everything ourselves, but you can see once it's selected, you can change the properties. If you double click in here to a different color, whatever you like. We'll make it blue just for today, nice light blue. Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I'm creating a prescription map is what is the default setting going to be. So we could do this one of two ways. When you put these in your sprayer, I personally we use a John Deere 2630 GPS system in our sprayer, so it gives you an option for what you want. Any of the anywhere it doesn't have an input information, what rate you want to use on those areas, or if you're just want to have it covered here, what I like to do is first thing we have to click this edit, and that'll get us into that editing that layer. Make sure you're selected down here. And the first thing we want to do now is click this add feature button. So for our base rate for the field in none of the specialty areas, we'll just do half this field just for the sake of the tutorial here. Say we're going to have this as 2. This is going to be our average rate. We click that, and there we go. So we can't see through this. It's pretty dark. It's going to be pretty hard to make see what areas we want to select for behind that. So we're going to again go and change our transparency. Click apply, we'll maybe go a little more than that just so we can get a pretty good idea. So I've left this background map, the Pix4D created prescription map, back here just to kind of help us along if we wanted to do it without, or if we decided that we didn't like what the Pix4D had output, we can just turn it off and do it just by eye that way. But it is kind of nice to see how it's kind of grouped it, so we'll leave it on for right now. So now that we've highlighted this this whole back area here, we can begin to highlight our specific areas, our other management zones. So all we need to do is we've clicked this create shapefile layer, and we're going to start clicking and highlighting the areas that look like they're going to need the strongest rate. So say this is a pesticide problem, a pest problem, whatever the red is here. I'll tell you on this specific case for us it was a fungus problem, so perhaps this is what we're going to be needing as fungicide in these areas at a higher rate. So we can we color in this area, we select this area, go around the border, and then to finish our polygon we right click and it'll ask us for our rate. So we want a higher rate in here. We're going to hit 3, click OK, and there you can go, you see it's created that area. Now it's overlaid it on top of the other one, so all the rest of this is going to be 2, and this area in here is going to be a rate of 3. We can continue to do that, adding layers. Make sure you click to finish the polygon and then right click. This is going to be 3 as well. And then we've got, say we've got our healthier areas here. We're not very affected by the fungus. Fungicide's expensive, so we want to use as little as possible. So we're going to select this area. We're going to put some on maybe just for the sake of safety. And we're going to put in rate 1. So that's going to be, say, 1 gallon per acre or whatever you're using in your sprayer. There you go. So you're going to go through your map and kind of get these areas as you go through. You can do it all custom. Do as many areas as you like. There's going to be no limit. But say we've gone through and we've made a mistake, or maybe we just want to check over our work and make sure that we've got all the right rates in all the right places. So we're going to click on this button here, open attribute table, and it's going to bring up this nice attribute table. There's 2 different views in here that we can look at. If you click on the squares in here, it's going to highlight the areas, which area pertains to which number, and then you can change the numbers from here. So if you want to change the rate at a later time, I like to go in this one. Say this is actually supposed to be a 1 or 2, we just double click on there, hit 2, hit enter, and it'll change the rate for us automatically. So that's a nice feature in case you do make mistakes. There are some other options in here regarding whether or not you need to change things, like say this node tool. We should be able to go in and select a node and change its location if we do need to do stuff like that. So now we're happy with what we've done. This is good for our areas, what we're going to be doing. We can just deselect everything so we can see through our map again. Now after every change you need to make, you need to have this save layer edits button. You need to hit this once and it'll save it now to the file where you saved it. If you don't hit that, it's basically going to be that file that you've created for your shape file, but it's not going to have any information on it. It's just going to be a blank map essentially. So now we've done this, we've created our entire prescription map ready to go into our sprayer. We've saved it. You can also save through here. You can hit the save for selected layers button in here. But anyways, we've saved it, and now we want to go and put it into our tractor. So we're going to go look in here in our files. We're going to go into this file where we'd saved it, and you can see that it's created a whole number of different files. So this is a shape file, and you're also, I like to put all of these in. There's only 3 or 4 of them that you require I'm sure it depends on the device that you're using, but it'll often tell you what it needs. I'm pretty sure it's all of them except for this one right here. Anyways, just put them all onto your USB stick under the RX. If you're using a 2630, anyways, that's how you would do it. You put it under a file on your USB stick that you've labeled RX, a folder, and then when you plug it into your tractor, it's going to do everything automatically for you. It should be ready to go. So that's it for today's tutorial. I'd like to thank you for watching. Please visit my website, www.hawkeyeag.com. You'll be able to find the link in the description. As I mentioned before, I'll also add the link for QGIS in the description so you know where to go find it. Thanks again for watching.